My mother disconnected my grandfather's oxygen machine to speed up her inheritance. When I walked in, she said, it was time. He suffered enough. I stood frozen. I didn't call the police, not yet. I installed cameras in her house when she thought I was forgiving. 3 months later, at the estate signing, I played the footage. The lawyer dropped his pen. My uncle looked at her and said, "My name's Eric. I'm 41, live in Des Moines, Iowa. I work in HVAC, nothing fancy, but I'm good at it. Always have been. My story's not the kind you brag about. It's the kind you carry in your gut every day. And I've carried this for too long. My grandfather, Jack, was the only real father I ever had. My mom, Denise, had me when she was 19, and my dad was gone by the time I turned 2. Jack stepped in. He was steady, old school, kind. Raised me right. He taught me to ride a bike, taught me to fix a toilet, told me to never lie unless it's to keep someone from dying, and even then, think twice. He was a Korean War vet, worked in a machine shop for 40 years, didn't talk much unless he had to. But when he did, you listened. My mom, she was always chasing something. Men, money, pity. She didn't treat me bad, but she didn't treat me good either. Just kind of tolerated me. She had this way of making every problem someone else's fault. If rent was late, it was the landlord. If her car got repossessed, it was the bank's fault. If a boyfriend hit her, it was because I was being difficult that day. That's who she was. 3 years ago, Grandpa started going downhill. COPD. Slow and mean. The kind that takes your breath inch by inch. He had home hospice by the end. I was there almost every day. Cleaned him, fed him, made sure his meds were right. My mom would show up now and then, but only when the nurses were around, when she had an audience. Then came that one day. It was a Thursday, January. I remember because my boots tracked in snow, and I felt guilty about it. I was supposed to get there around 4 p.m. Work ran late. Didn't get there until after 5:30. The second I walked in, I knew something was wrong. It was too quiet. Grandpa's oxygen machine was always loud. You got used to it, this soft hissing noise, rhythmic. But that day, nothing. No hiss. Just silence. I walked down the hall, and there she was, my mom standing over his bed. He was already gone. Still, eyes closed. She was just standing there. I asked, what happened? She didn't cry, didn't look panicked. She looked at me and said, it was time. He suffered enough. Then she bent down, picked up the plug from the floor, and walked out. That was it. I didn't move. My hands started shaking. My throat dried up. I just stood there and stared at him. I kept thinking, maybe it was an accident. Maybe the machine failed. Maybe the plug fell out on its own. But then I remembered how calm she was. The way she said it, like it was a choice. I didn't call the cops. Not then. I wanted to. God knows I wanted to. But I froze. I kept hearing her voice over and over. It was time. And I knew, deep down, that she did it. And she didn't feel a damn thing about it. That night, I didn't sleep. Sat on my couch, lights off, just staring at nothing. I felt sick. Betrayed. Not just because she killed him, but because she did it like it was a favor. Like she got to decide. The next day, I called her. Told her I forgave her. Told her maybe she was right. Told her maybe it was the kindest thing to do. She ate it up. Started acting like we were close. Invited me over for dinner. Started asking me to help with paperwork. That's when I knew I had to do something. Not just for Grandpa, but for me. I bought a set of tiny cameras online. They looked like USB chargers. Some were motion triggered. Took me about 2 weeks to get them all in living room, hallway, bedroom, even the garage. I told her I was updating her Wi-Fi, fixing outlets. She didn't question it. She never saw them. For the next 3 months, I waited. I watched. She got comfortable. Started talking on the phone a lot. Too much. Talked about the will, the house, the money. I recorded everything. Every word. When probate started, she pushed to be named executor. Said Grandpa trusted her. My uncle, her brother, Gary, lives in Arizona. Didn't come around much. He assumed she was handling things. Didn't ask questions. Signed whatever she sent. Then the estate meeting got set. Big office downtown, wood-paneled walls, a conference table that could seat 12. I brought my laptop. We all sat down, me, her, Uncle Gary, and the lawyer, Mr. Holden. Everything was normal. Sign here. Initial there. All neat, quiet, polite. Until she handed over the last page and smirked like she'd won something. That's when I slid the laptop forward. I clicked play. The footage showed her walking into Grandpa's room, showed her looking around, unplugging the machine, staring at him, saying those words again, "It's time. You've suffered enough." The lawyer dropped his pen. Just dropped it. My uncle looked like he couldn't breathe. He turned to her, pale as snow, and said, My uncle stared at her for a long time, like he couldn't believe what he'd just seen, like he didn't know the woman sitting across from him anymore. Then he said, real quiet, "Denise, what the hell did you do?" She didn't answer right away. Her face went pale, then red. She looked at me like she just realized I wasn't her ally anymore. Her eyes got sharp, like she wanted to slap me across the face. "That footage is fake," she snapped. "You think I don't know how easy it is to fake video now? You think I don't know what you're doing, Eric?" Mr. Holden leaned forward. He was a quiet, serious kind of guy. Mid-60s, silver beard, always kept his jacket buttoned even when sitting. He said, "Ms. Benson, are you saying this is not you in the video?" She looked at him and said, "It's edited. It's AI or whatever. He's always hated me. He did this to ruin me." I opened another video, one from a different angle. Same moment. Her face. Her hand pulling the plug. Her voice. Then another. A third one. The audio was slightly different, but it all lined up. 3 angles. 3 different days. And on one of them, 2 weeks after Grandpa died, she was in the kitchen talking on the phone, saying, "Well, he's dead now. We just need the papers signed, and I'll handle the rest." The lawyer didn't say anything for a while. My uncle looked sick. I could tell he was trying to make sense of it all. "You let us think he died naturally," he said. "You lied to me. To everyone." She stood up, pointing at me. "He's manipulating you, Gary. You were never here. You don't know what it was like." Dad was in pain every day. He begged to go. I helped him. That word, helped. It made me snap. "You helped yourself," I said. "You couldn't wait to get your hands on his house, his savings. You killed him to speed it up." She lunged toward me, not to hit me, but to close the laptop. The lawyer grabbed her wrist halfway and said, "I strongly advise you to sit down." She did. Slowly. Her face was twisted with rage. And then it started, her panic unraveling in real time. Her voice got shaky. She started muttering things like, "You weren't there every night," and "He told me he was tired of living," and "Why does it always fall on me?" Then she looked at me and said, "You don't understand, Eric. He chose this. He wanted it." He looked me in the eyes and asked me. I looked right back and said, "Then why didn't you tell anyone? Why not call hospice? Why hide it?" Silence. The lawyer pushed the papers aside and said, "I'll be filing an emergency petition to freeze the estate until we investigate this. And I need to notify the authorities." She lost it then. Full breakdown. Started crying, shouting about betrayal. Called me a backstabber, said I was turning the family against her. My uncle stood up and said, "You turned us against you. The second you pulled that plug." She turned to him like she wanted him to defend her, but he walked out without another word. The lawyer asked me to email him all the footage. Said he was going to report it to the court and the DA. On the way out, she grabbed my arm. "I'm your mother," she hissed. "How could you do this to me?" I didn't even look at her. I just said, "You should have thought about that before you murdered the only good man either of us ever had." Then I walked out. But that was just the start. The footage went public 2 weeks later. My uncle leaked it to a reporter he knew in Phoenix. And that's when everything really started to unravel. The footage went public faster than I expected. My uncle must have sent it to someone with real pull, because within a few days, it was all over local news, then national. "Iowa woman accused of euthanizing father for inheritance" was the headline that stuck. They blurred Grandpa's face, but not hers. The video clip ran on late-night news, shared 1,000,000 times online. I didn't leak it, but I didn't stop it either. Mom lost her job 2 days later. She worked front desk at a small private medical office. Once the story hit, the clinic asked her not to return. Patients were calling in, asking if the killer woman still worked there. She tried to play the victim, told people it was fake, edited, even claimed I was trying to steal the estate from her. But something broke in her eyes during those first few days after the footage aired. It was like she knew, deep down, that her old tricks wouldn't work this time. Not when the whole world could watch her pull the plug. That's when the police came. 2 detectives knocked on her door with a warrant. She called me later, screaming into my voicemail, saying I'd ruined her life, that she didn't even get to wear makeup before they filmed her getting handcuffed. I saved the message. It's still on my phone. She was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, though her lawyers tried to argue for compassionate release and medical mercy. They leaned hard into the angle that Grandpa had suffered, that it was euthanasia, not greed. But then a new twist came out. During the investigation, they pulled up her financials. Turns out she'd taken out a private loan 6 months before Grandpa died. A big one, $48,000. And it was coming due, hard. She'd used his house as implied collateral, claiming to the lender it was basically hers. There was no paperwork to back that, but the timing was damning. Even worse, they found a life insurance policy. A small one, only about $25,000, but my name was on the original beneficiary line. Grandpa had signed it 5 years before, but a few months before he died, it was changed to her. The signature looked weird. I couldn't say for sure, but it didn't look like Grandpa's handwriting. So I dug, went to his bank, found out she'd been helping him manage his accounts toward the end, meaning she had access to everything. It was easy for her to move money, change paperwork, close things down without telling anyone. That policy change, we contested it in court. The handwriting didn't match his past signatures. We got a forensic expert. She even slipped during deposition and said something about not thinking the old man would remember what he signed. The lawyer nearly choked when she said that on record. At the same time, she filed a motion against me, accusing me of planting false evidence and manipulating video. It was her last shot at getting the public to see her as the victim. She even claimed I had deep-seated hatred for women and was emotionally unstable. Then, a new witness came forward. One of the hospice nurses who had rotated through Grandpa's case. She testified under oath that about a week before Grandpa died, he told her something odd, that he was scared his daughter was trying to take everything before he was even gone. That she kept watching the oxygen machine like it was a clock. The nurse wrote it down in her notes. Had time-stamped logs. No one had looked at them until the DA subpoenaed hospice records. It changed everything. The murder charge stuck. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Because the inheritance was still frozen. The house. The savings. The life insurance. The court was trying to decide if any of it should go to her, or if she should be disqualified entirely under Iowa's Slayer statute. I knew what I wanted. I wanted everything she thought she was getting. I wanted her to watch it all slip away. But I wasn't going to steal it. I was going to earn it. In court, with proof, with the same patience she lacked when she pulled that plug. The trial lasted 8 days. I sat in the second row behind the prosecutor, in a clean shirt and work jeans. I didn't speak much. I didn't need to. The footage spoke loud enough. My mother sat across the courtroom, hands in her lap, wearing a dull gray blazer her lawyer probably picked. Her hair wasn't done. Her face looked tired, hard. Every now and then, she'd glance at me. I didn't look back. The hospice nurse's testimony sealed it. That, and the financial records. The policy change. The loan. The desperate calls she made right after Grandpa's death, trying to speed up estate access. It all added up. The jury came back in less than 3 hours. Guilty. Second-degree murder. She didn't cry. She didn't even blink. Just sat there like her mind had finally shut off. The judge gave her 25 years. She'll serve at least 18. Outside the courtroom, Uncle Gary shook my hand. He said, "You did right by him, Eric." I nodded, but I didn't feel relief. Not yet. The civil case dragged on. Her lawyer tried to argue she should still get part of the estate since Grandpa didn't suffer at her hands, but the judge wasn't having it. Iowa's Slayer statute was clear. If you kill someone, you don't inherit from them. She was cut out completely. The house went to me and Uncle Gary. He didn't want it. Said it didn't feel like home anymore. I bought out a share and moved in. It was hard, being in that house at first. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was heavy. But I kept it clean. I fixed the squeaky steps, repainted the walls. I kept Grandpa's tools in place. The life insurance payout came through 6 months later. Back to me, after the handwriting was ruled forged. I donated half to the hospice organization that cared for Grandpa. Not for show, just because it felt like something he'd want. The rest? I used it to pay off every bill he had. I kept a few thousand aside. I didn't touch it for a while. Then I visited her in prison. I don't know why exactly. Maybe I needed to see if she was sorry. Maybe I needed to look her in the face one last time. They brought her into the visitor's room in orange, thinner than I remembered. She sat down across from me, chained at the ankles. She looked up. You happy now? She asked. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. No, I said, but I'm at peace. She leaned forward. He told me he wanted to die. He was tired. You weren't there those nights when he couldn't breathe. I did what no one else would. I stared at her. If he wanted that, you should have called hospice. Told the doctors. Not waited until no one was looking. You did it for yourself. That's why you unplugged the machine, then walked away like you were throwing out the trash. She didn't answer. I pulled out a photo. Grandpa and me at my high school graduation. I slid it across the table. She didn't touch it. He was the only real parent I had, I said. And you murdered him. Then I stood up and walked out. That was the last time I saw her. A year later, I finally slept a full night without waking up in sweat. The cameras I once used to catch her stayed in a box in the closet. I didn't need them anymore. The best revenge wasn't just her losing everything. It was me standing over the ashes of what she built and choosing not to be like her. It was making sure the world saw what she did. Making sure Grandpa didn't just disappear into a closed casket and fake eulogy. It was the truth, played out in court, played out on tape, played out in every lost minute she now sits behind bars. She took his breath away. I took the rest.